How to get your spark back, part 2. If you missed the first video, I highly recommend you go on my profile and check it out before watching this one, because it is a continuation. However, in addition to the things I mentioned in the previous video, in 2013 I lost my mom to cancer 3 months before my son was born, that I had specifically for her. And with this, the day I lost my mom to cancer, this woke me up to the realization that one day we are no longer going to be here like never before. And I started to evaluate my life. And one thing I would recommend if you find yourself really down in the dumps is identifying the lies you're telling yourself. Because when I lost my mom to cancer and I had all these realizations that I'd been an alcoholic for the last 15 years to drown out all this unhealed childhood trauma, I realized I had a Jetwick temper, and hitting a guy in the face when he pissed me off was not a way to solve a problem. However, I felt like I was stuck. I convinced myself that healing was not possible. So for 13 months, I carried around this belief that I was going to be feeling the pain in my heart for the rest of my life. And I was going to be stuck with this individual that had all this healing to do. And it wasn't until I asked myself if I could continue living another 20, 30, 40 years the way I was that I eventually led to, being in the process of exiting this reality. And so I can't emphasize enough, if you're in a situation where you feel like you've lost your spark, you've lost all hope, you have to identify the lies you're telling yourself and just understand that whatever you need to achieve is possible. Okay, I never thought in a million years I would get to the place where I'm at today. Another thing worth mentioning is along this journey of healing and just life in general, when you feel like you've lost your spark, you feel like you've lost all hope, learn to become your best friend instead of your worst nightmare. Pay attention to how you talked. Pay attention to the thoughts you allow yourself to have. One thing I can assure you is that if you learn to be easy on yourself and love those hurt, broken aspects of you, the easier the healing journey gets. The next time anger comes up, instead of beating yourself up for it, understand, where does that stem from? What was triggered? Where did it come from? And there's always a line of healing that can be uncovered when you do that. If something makes you sad, instead of getting angry at yourself, understand that there's a sad, broken, hurt part of you. See it as a separate energy body of you and give it a hug. There's a technique you can do that I call Be Your Own Angel, where I go back in time to all the times I had, struggle and hardship. And I envision myself giving myself a hug, because time and space is an illusion. The younger versions of you still exist, and going back there and being your own angel actually makes a difference. Another thing worth mentioning, in 2015, I quit drinking for 7.5 years. And during that time, without my go-to crutch, it was during that time that I truly discovered who I was. So ask yourself if your crutches are leading to you not having your spark. Another tool you may find useful if you're down in the dumps mentally, you got the big D word, you have to become selfish. You have to become selfish to your needs, because when you're at a certain level where you're like, you don't want to be here anymore, you absolutely have to put your needs above everyone else and not worry if anyone's calling you selfish. What does that mean? That means if you're having a horrible mental day and someone wants you to go to Aunt Sally's for dinner and you feel obligated to go because it's her 50th, fuck it, I'm not going. I need time alone. I'm going through something. Sorry if that upsets you. You have to become selfish and stop people pleasing and start going within and setting boundaries and determining what's important to you. And last but not least, this is only going to resonate for a few of you out there, but if you feel like change, like healing is impossible, there is the plant medicine route. In 2015, I came to the realization that I needed to seek help, and the traditional route was never for me. I've never seen a counselor for depression. I never popped a pill. Instead, I worked with shamans and energy healers and started taking plant medicine. And I can honestly say that working with a shaman using mushrooms was one of the most life-changing things I've ever experienced And then eventually that would lead to 4 ayahuasca ceremonies. So some people just need that, extra boost, and that is an alternative route, which I can honestly say has definitely changed my life for the better.